tonight. We're actually doing a tribute. We're going to be doing some scotch shots over at Knights in Ann Arbor. I invited Jamie, so Jamie's coming too.
Yeah, and I am not really a drinker at all, but I'll honor George.
I thought we were doing Louis the 13th shots.
I'm not paying for it.
Sure.
Shout out to George, the slickest dude I ever watched.
That was his birthday. That we had a birthday bash at Antonio's in Canton, and he ordered 3 of those Louis the 8ths or 13th.
13th.
Yeah, the bill came. They were $250 a shot.
So the best part of the story is he asked the waiter what the best he's got. He orders one, which that's going on the tab for the table, of course. And then some cat heard that we were there. Someone had called and said, hey, George's birthday dinner. And some guy shows up and he's like, all right, I'll buy everybody a round. What do you want? So George orders his. Everybody else orders theirs. And then the guy gets his bill and it's 300 and change. And he's like, what the hell is this? And he looks and it's one drink for George, $2.50. And then the other 10 people at the table.
$2.
Yes. And then George ordered a third, which was even better.
Oh my God.
So that was classic.
Hilarious.
I was so happy to be there.
He loved scotch. He loved his scotch. That's what I said. That's why he called it when he called me at first. Okay, the government won't let me smoke marijuana. We're going to call this the Scotch Talks. You know, and that's kind of how our relationship started. Yeah. The Scotch Talks.
And Jamie, do you know the person that came? It was Big Mark, Pete's guy. He's the one that had to pick up that second tab.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
or we're in a situation where the other person who did that to him wasn't in any trouble.
Yeah.
I wonder how expensive that was. The scotch was that Johnny gave him. You know, him and Johnny got to meet up, last year and stuff. And he stayed, 4 days or so, 4 or 5 days with Johnny, drinking scotch and, of course, hookers.
Yeah, he actually came from Johnny to move here. So stayed out to here. And Johnny called a couple times while I was here, but the one of the hookers would call all the time, and George would talk to her like he was the dad. It was literally like he was giving her advice the whole time.
Life advice.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, good.
He was
good for her.
Anybody that truly loved him and also hated him or something.
And also hated him.
Oh yeah, if you spend enough time around George, he's a great guy. I mean, listen, this is a guy that spent 20 plus years locked in a fucking cage. He wasn't gonna let life slow him down at this point. I'm sorry I didn't know him before he went to prison. That would have been awesome. But to know him now after, wow, this was.
Right now it's bright sunshine and raining in Flint at the same time, which is sort of how George would like it. Bright sunshine and rain at the same time. It's kind of cool. It's actually quite remarkable. So, man, it's been great having a chance to review our relationship with George and some of the things that he's meant to the community too. The movie itself, Blow, regardless of how accurate it was or not, that really made a big difference on a lot of people. They looked at drug trafficking differently. They looked at the human side of the smugglers as opposed to just what the DEA had been telling them all along about how these swarthy foreigners were just trying to take advantage of stuff. And after that, there was a slew of other smuggler movies that came out after Blow because Blow had been so successful. But it was really genre defining almost.
Well, and George was also hooked up with the cartel. Don't forget that he was. We're not talking people in the game.
I'm sorry, Darrell. Go ahead.
Hold on. I think Darrell was saying that it was the highest grossing film for Johnny Depp. Is that right?
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, at that time, it was Johnny Depp's highest. That's why he had a lot of respect for George too. That was his biggest film that kind of It was after like Beetlejuice was little, things like that were little. Obviously,
Before Pirates.
Right.
Yeah, before
Before
Pirates.
Pirates.
This one kind of launched him into that realm.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you know he even had Scissorhands, and that was okay. But
That's
after
on that
doing
episode.
Blow, boom, he got big. But Johnny said, you know, he did this role and it was like a love letter to George. After meeting George and spending time, it was his portrayal of George and his acting was a love letter to George. You know.
Well, and Johnny Depp's one of those actors that learns his character by spending time with his character, and he visited with George. He got to learn what George was all about, and did a unique job of portraying that character, and that really put him on the map in a whole different genre of moviegoers.
Yeah, watching that movie, watched the movie on the 5th, actually, in honor of him. And just watching that movie and the expressions that Johnny made and his mannerisms. And if you knew George, it was like, holy shit, yeah, that's George. You know, if you spend any time with George, you knew this was some of his mannerisms. Johnny did a great job. He really did. And of course, a lot of people don't know. It was, at first, Dennis Leary was supposed to play him. You know, Dennis Leary was the first one in the show that was supposed to do it. But then they decided to make it a build their film. So instead, they had, we've seen, Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, and Johnny Depp were the actors who were up for that role. And then Johnny got the role. That's what George told me. You know. So yeah, so there's a few other actors who were up for that role. And it could have been interesting though. I don't know, Val Kilmer or Tom Cruise. But then Tom Cruise did play the American Me, Barry Seal, which is basically, he took over George's job.
Yeah, George says Barry Seal was one of his pilots at one point.
I imagine it's a small circle. You know, those people travel in the same territories.
Well, right, and that what I was trying to say earlier is you have to understand that George was part of the #1 cartel. He wasn't just a smuggler who smuggled a bunch of shit into this country over the years, but he was connected with the big dog. And that, Pablo Escobar's story is widely told, and George was a big part of that. And that legitimized the whole Blow story, if you ask me.
And on that same note, if you look at that list of top 20 biggest, world's greatest smugglers, George is 17, Pablo's #1, and Carlos is #2. So that's who he was doing business for. Also on that list is Al Capone, John F. Kennedy's dad. I mean, these you don't even realize the types of people that were on this list if you actually Google it.
I keep talking. I just put you up here as a solo picture while you were talking, and you quit as soon as I did. So that's a cute. Keep going.
My bad. I'm slow. Well, you're slow.
Still getting used to some of this stuff.
Got this. I do have this. Is George's new.
Oh yeah, man. Hold on. I got that too. I got that here. Hold on.
So yeah, there it is right there. That puts out. George sent me this one. It just says, to Darrell, enjoy the madness, sadness, and gladness as you travel with the big fish. And it's definitely written in George lingo. So if you're a literal genius, you're not going to like it. But if you're a real person, you're going to like it.
Nice.
Yeah. It sucks because he wanted to write a book about me, and he wanted me to start sending him tapes and stuff. Of course, unfortunately, that never happened. But he wanted to write a book. I actually got a little video of him starting it out with the big markers and all that, and started writing a little bit about me. But,
Well, it's very cool that was even on the table. You connected so well that was, being worked on.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I was blessed that I met him. We became close friends.
Yeah.
He would do anything for me, and I did anything for him, I think, pretty much.
I've proven I could do anything for him. I carried him upstairs naked.
Butt ass naked.
Now, when he was in that kind of vulnerable position, did anything get any weirder than just what the story on the surface is?
Well, it's my understanding as Darrell threw him over his shoulder that his ball sack kind of slapped Darrell in the face.
You can't tell Adam any secrets. You cannot share anything with this guy.
And did it just kind of stick there for a second and peel off?
Yeah, kind of
And when I
rubbed.
fell,
Manhood on the mandible. Okay. Oh, man. Wow. Betrayal.
real quick, I'll tell it, but at 3 a.m, I heard George yelling Rhonda in the middle of the night. So I threw some clothes on. I walked out to just opened my bedroom door, and halfway up the stairs, George has his clothes in a bundle, and he's using it as a pillow, and he's buck naked, sprawled out across my stairs, like going up. So I went to grab him. I get him up, kind of on my shoulder, make him walk, not over my shoulder, but I get him standing up. I'm looking at George, and he goes, "What? You never seen a grown man naked?" And I'm like, "George, no, I haven't." Turns naked. I don't want to see anyone naked again. Because that's what it reminded me of The Simpsons, Mr. Burns.
Why did you say that?
And that was just a normal Wednesday.
Yeah, that was a regular Wednesday.
Yeah. Life at the plantation.
Way to help out with that image, man, right?
It's unfortunate because I'm too big for Darrell to carry up, but I'm going to spend the night there tonight, and I'll be drinking, so I won't be getting down the stairs, though.
More like one of those senior raisins, That's so gross. So the whole ball sack on the face was a lie then, right? That was really funny.
Well, that
was really funny.
I think it depends when Darrell tells the story.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he told me the story the way I tell it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I cradled him like a baby, and when I fell, I just kind of went face planted right on him.
Is that when George
over again, right? You kept falling down.
Is that when George put his hand on the back of your head?
Well,
as long as everybody has fun and was consensual, who cares?
Dark episode of Jazz Cabbage. Wow.
Biggest smuggler in United States history.
The problem is, George, under the law, there was no way George could consent to anything in that situation. He was guaranteed lit well.
Yes,
but George was a hell of a guy. I mean, George was one of those guys that could outdrink anybody I knew. Just he was a professional at all times.
Yeah, he was. That man could scotch, rum, or you name it, vodka. He loved his. He enjoyed it. That was his vice.
That's what he chose at a certain point, right?
What's that?
That's what he chose at a certain point. As you said, he did things on his own terms. And he knew that was detrimental to him, but he's like, I'm still doing this because this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Even when he was drunk, this man was wittier and still could
sharp,
hold an intelligent conversation. Very sharp. Here's a quick story in San Diego when we had to get him there. First off, when he goes the first day, on his birthday, of course, he had a few drinks at the airport terminal. He gets on the plane. The flight attendant says, "Oh, you're too drunk. You can't get on the plane here." So he gets off. When he comes, he gets on the plane sober, and the next day, all the flight attendants buy him drinks. And so when he lands in San Diego, he's drunk, which I don't know makes sense. So you can't get drunk coming on the plane, but we'll get you drunk while you're on the plane. So he gets there drunk, but he goes right to the green room and starts playing this guitar in the Hard Rock Cafe. And then, from that straight to the stage, on the stage, just talking with me and Garen, and just witty and everything. He always had his wit about him. He'd always hold a decent conversation, even when he was had his drink.
He would just call you names when he's drunk.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can't say those because we're being streamed. But some of those names were pretty
Awesome.
out there.
He said some things
Yeah, I
about
know,
some
awesome,
people.
That we wanted to say, but we couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't say it, but we could. Or he could.
He did.
No, he did. No, he let
He didn't
us
give a
know
fuck.
if there's someone he didn't like. There wasn't too many we didn't trust, but some people that he didn't trust, he let us know it. Watch out for this fucking dickhead, you know?
Yeah, all he had to do was hold your hand for a minute and he could like tell all about you. He knew if he liked you. He knew if you were trustworthy. He knew if you were a rat bastard. And he'd tell you.
Yeah. And there's definitely one person he held the hand the longest, even longer than Adam. And Adam knows who this guy is. Let's see if you can name it, Adam. Who did he hold the longest?
Oh, Peyton.
There you go.
Yeah, his boyfriend.
Now, who is that, Adam?
Peyton is
That's
George's first Michigan boyfriend when he got here.
Boyfriend.
A young
18 years
fella
old.
in his early 20s. He stole him from Alicia,
Yeah.
which is Melissa's daughter.
Right.
But yeah, he turned Peyton out that first night. That wasn't that was an old prison move. I watched that happening from across the room, you know. Poor Peyton couldn't figure out how to get out from under. I mean, here's this man who's holding your hand and will not let go.
Yeah, what do you say to someone like that? Because you respect them, especially when you're a young kid. You respect them. So what are you going to say? You know,
Yeah, I mean, you go in to kiss the Pope's ring and he strokes your face. What do you say?
yeah,
Nothing.
yeah.
The fucking Pope.
What a conundrum! Who thinks of these things, Adam?
I mean, this is Boston George, and you're 20 years old. And not only are you 20 years old, but your father would kill you if you disrespected this man, and you know it. So he's holding your hand, and you can't let go. And you're 6'4", and you can't let go.
And the Pope's stroking your face.
Just about. Oh, I'm telling you. Listen, I've seen a lot of players in my life. I've seen a lot of con men. I've worked for con men. I've worked with players. I've seen these people. George was a classic unto himself. He was not a player. He was not a con man, but he had those skills. He was like the deepest human you ever wanted to meet because you could talk about the most mundane things with him. And he would, you know, he was interested. Why do you believe that stupid shit? He'd want to know. How can you people sit around and smoke pot all day long? Well, here, George, let me show you how. As he's drinking, you know, a bottle of scotch. Yeah, George, this is how we do it, my friend.
He did trip acid over here too.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But I will tell you one thing: he loved the ladies. George had
The ladies loved him as a
well, they gave him respect. He liked that.
LL Boston George. Ladies love Boston George.
El Americano.
Yes, they do. I liked when I was out on the road with him and these men would walk up with their girlfriends and their wives and they'd introduce, you know, they'd say, "Hey, this is my wife, Becky." And George right away was moving in on Becky with the handshake. How you doing? Nice to meet you. And, you know, this cat's coming up to talk to George. And the funny thing was all these people would buy him a drink. So you're working with him. You took a little break. He's supposed to be doing a meet and greet. And they're all buying him drinks. And you got to put him up on stage in 20 minutes. And never slowed George down. He just kept going.
Yep.
Just an American classic.
I have never seen somebody with. I mean, there's so many times I was scared. Oh God, he's gonna go up and talk. And then it's like this man was boom. He was boom. He knew his shit.
Sharp as a tack. I mean, I'll be honest. Sometimes I'm so high, I'm afraid what I'm going to say. Okay? I mean, I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. George, I was scared to death with that guy. And he always backed up what he said. That was the other thing.
Here, Adam, I never know what's going to come out of my mouth, Adam says. Nice.
Ha, ha,
ha. I do want to say one thing.
Adam, are you gearing up for your journey to Ann Arbor? I'm sorry, Darrell, what were you saying?
I was
Go ahead, Darrell.
in 2019, December of 2019, he actually shared a stage with Tommy Chung. And so we're at Emerald Cup in California, and they're both on stage together. And I could tell Tommy had no clue who George was at all.
Right.
Like, wondering why this guy's out there. And George kind of took over the talking, of course, because that's what George did. Yeah. But that was one of my last shows I actually saw him at. But it was good to see the two of them together. Once he figured out who he was.
And that was the cool thing is you could always mention blow. I used to do that at restaurants. Hey, I got 8 people. I need a big table. Hey, listen, you see the old guy? Yeah. You saw the movie Blow? Yeah. Well, Johnny Depp played him. Oh, well, let me see about getting the big table cleared off. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
That worked.
Every time.
It worked, yeah.
Especially at the strip clubs. But
yeah.
Another one.
Strip club.
We got video footage of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's anybody ever says they got a photo of themselves in Boston, George, in a strip club, they do.
They're pretty common. They're not the ones being shown right now, though, all over social media too much. But
No.
Oh, I could show you some, but I don't think you can put them up on your show.
Actually, there was some video.
Oh, I had one on-
Yeah, you put one on Facebook.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see titties and everything.
Deb West had one on. Wasn't it Deb's account?
Oh, yeah, it was. You might be right. Didn't you put one up with titties, Deb?
Yeah, Deb West
I
put
guess
one on stage. George, he loved the titty shops, man. He was all about it.
he was a man. He was straight, you know.
Remember also, in fairness, Rhonda does too, you know. Rhonda loves ladies too, just as much as George does. And vice versa.
They had that in common also, yeah.
Yeah. They're both free-spirited people.
Adam, you're gearing up for your trip to Ann Arbor?
Yeah, dinner's at 7, so I'm actually trapped in the house with a child at the moment, but upon the wife's return, I am on the way.
Should work out just about right. Is there anything you want to make sure that you say before we start winding down?
Oh, not really. I mean, I basically said it all. I was a big fan of George's. I told him that. I once asked him a question I thought nobody'd ever asked him, and that was, what was your last conversation with Pablo Escobar like? I'm a true crime fanatic, so I was really into Pablo Escobar. And he told me, he said that he called Pablo and told him that basically the information branch of the DEA was onto them, and he knew about it. He had some inside information. And he told Pablo to get out. Pablo said, "I'm a Colombian. I'll die here." And he did. But I'm just blessed that, and I don't use that word too much, but I'm blessed that I was able to spend some time with a guy that was a great American hero. I mean, And I ain't gonna lie, man. I grew up in Detroit in the '80s, man. I saw a lot of that man's product come through my city. So, I know how powerful that whole thing was, and I have a lot of respect for it. So to me, it's an honor to be able to say I was a friend of his and have spent some time with him. So,
Right on.
and I appreciate the ability to come on your show and talk shit and tell stories and not be responsible for anything that comes out of my mouth. So I really appreciate
But you don't know what it is anyway, so how could you be responsible for it?
Playback's a wonderful thing.
Hey, you guys.
What the hell did I miss?
You had to put me on the big screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're supposed to warn us now.
Well, anyway, man, as we're winding down, and we covered a lot of ground, of course. Could do this many times over and still have a lot of stuff to talk about. And there's a lot of other video and pictures and stuff like that are out there that we'll see later on. We'll put some more up through here too. When he was on our show at CRB, we at the studio when you guys came out, we got a lot of good stuff that day too, and just didn't get it together in time really to present it here. But it could be its own thing, and we'll put some of that out. And this will continue. And but is there anything you want to leave us with, you guys, Bobby?
It's just, I was blessed to know him. I know I say blessed a lot, but I was truly, truly blessed to know him and spend time and consider him a part of my family, a family member. I'm lucky that I was able to bring him here, and he was able to experience all my friends and everybody in the Cannabis community that took him in. All you guys that welcomed him, and I thank you for that, because you guys gave him the life he needed at the end. Everybody here in Michigan, he was rode pretty hard there in California, here and there and stuff. But being here, I think he truly felt at home when he was here and comfortable with everybody that he met that time. He really needed that. He knew that no one was trying to take advantage of him here, didn't want money from him. You just wanted to spend time. I think
he was definitely family. He became family alpha.
Yeah.
So it's something we're always going to miss. We're always going to think about him. And it still hasn't fully sunk.
I've tried a few times, but it's don't wait to think I'm going to give George a call in a day or so and he'll call me. But there's been times, that we didn't talk to, we had a little spat or something, and we didn't talk to for a few weeks or a month or two, and then all of a sudden he called me out of the blue. How you doing? Start talking again. And I kind of feel like that's going to happen again, but I know it's not. I'm just going to truly miss him and cherish all the times I spent with him. I really, really going to cherish all the times and stories. And a lot of great stories.
I know you can't read the chat, but John Schlicker of Cannapalooza has invited you both to attend this year, and also Rhonda as well. So hopefully you'll be able to make that happen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It actually came across the little bottom, so I saw it.
When is it? When is that?
August 20th through the 22nd.
Right before Ozarks.
Yeah, I think we could do it because then we're going to the Ozarks, and that's close enough. We're doing an event, Lake of the Ozarks, a squash off there with a cannabis trade show. Or the grow show, cannabis grow show. But yeah, we should be able to do that.
It was a fun time a couple of years ago.
Appreciate you having me on, and thank you for doing this. I'm sure George would have loved this. Everybody talking about it and giving him a hard time. Even the fact that he's not here, he would still love it.
That's for sure.
We appreciate you guys coming on too, man, Adam, and of course Rhonda and Debbie. Thanks a lot, you guys.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
See you, man.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Adam.
No problem, Adam. Thank you, man.
Take care.